Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a closer look at something pretty crucial, but often behind the scenes, Marine Corps intelligence.
That's right. A really vital piece of the puzzle.
We've been digging into the details from Marine Corps Intelligence.pdf
Mm.
to sort of map out this arm of the USMC.
And its place within the bigger intelligence community, too.
Exactly. Our mission here is to understand, how it's structured, a bit about its history, and what its main jobs are.
Giving you a clear picture of how it helps the Marines operate globally.
So where's the best place to jump in?
Well, I think first we need to place it. Marine Corps intelligence isn't just an internal thing for the Marines.
Okay.
It's actually a recognized member of the United States intelligence community.
Ah, right. That's fundamental. It means they're contributing on a national level.
Precisely. It links them into the whole national intelligence effort, understanding threats and opportunities.
And inside the Corps, the person steering the ship is the Director of Intelligence. They head up the intelligence department at HQMC.
That's the one. Think of the director as the central strategic figure for Marine intelligence.
Okay, so what does that actually involve? What's on their plate?
Oh, it's pretty broad. You're talking policy, making the plans, handling the budgets.
Managing the money.
Right, and overseeing the people doing the intelligence work. It's a big job.
I bet. And the director also supervises the MCIA, the Marine Corps Intelligence Activity?
Yes, MCIA, which we'll definitely dig into. And they also represent the Marines in joint military talks and with the wider intelligence community.
Got it. So the director sets the strategy. Now, the intelligence department itself, it's responsible for all those different kinds of intel, right? GEOIN, SIGINT.
Yep, the whole alphabet soup.
Yeah.
GEOIN is geospatial intelligence, maps, imagery, that sort of thing.
Giving you the visual context.
Exactly. Then SIGINT, signals intelligence, is about electronic communications. Human is human intelligence talking to people.
Gathering info from human sources.
Right. And CI, counterintelligence, which is about protecting our own forces and information from spies and sabotage.
Okay, so different ways of looking at the world and potential threats.
Each gives a unique perspective on the operational environment, yeah.
And managing all these is about creating a unified strategy for the whole, what's it called, the MCISRE?
The Marine Corps Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance Enterprise,
Yeah.
MCISRE, yeah.
Sounds like getting everyone on the same page.
That's the goal, making sure all the pieces are working together, sharing info, building that common picture for decision makers.
Okay, let's zoom in on the MCIA then. The Marine Corps Intelligence Activity. You said it's key.
It really is. It was set up back in 1987. It's what they call a field activity under Marine Corps intelligence. And importantly, it's also a member of the U.S. intelligence community itself.
And it's based at Hockamuth Hall.
That's right.
Hmm.
Named after Bruno Hockamuth, a well-regarded Marine general.
A fitting tribute, I imagine. What's MCIA's main job?
Well, primarily, they provide intelligence analysis and services tailored specifically for the Marine Corps,
Okay.
but also for other military branches and the wider intelligence community, too.
So they share their insights.
They do, and a big part of their focus is on expeditionary missions, especially in coastal areas, the littorals.
Ah, that makes sense, given the Marines' whole power projection from the sea mission.
Exactly. They need specific expertise for those complex areas where land meets sea. It's different from what, say, a purely land-focused agency might prioritize.
So it's not just about writing reports, is it? The document mentions they help develop doctrine, force structure, even training and buying new gear.
That's a huge part of it. Their intel directly shapes how the Marines prepare for the future, how they fight, how they equip themselves.
Wow. So they're really embedded in the planning process.
Deeply. And there's a poignant story tied to their facilities, too, the Swain Annex.
Yes.
It's named for Lance Corporal James E. Swain. He received the National Intelligence Medal for Valor posthumously for his actions in the Second Battle of Fallujah.
Wow. That really puts a human face on it. Reminds you of the risks and sacrifices involved.
It absolutely does. MCIA sees itself as part of a bigger team, working closely with other service intel groups and joint centers.
A collaborative approach.
Very much so. Their mission statement is pretty clear. Deliver intel services for the Corps and the wider IC, supporting those expeditionary coastal operations.
They also figure out what the mission needs are and what training is required.
Yeah, they're proactive. Not just reacting to current threats, but looking ahead, anticipating what capabilities will be needed.
That makes sense. And they work with the Navy and Coast Guard intelligence, too, in that integration office.
Right, the National Maritime Intelligence Integration Office at Quantico. It shows that joined-up thinking about maritime security.
What I found really interesting was the link to the NSA-MCIA having administrative control over the Marine Cryptologic Support Battalion.
Mm-hmm. That really underlines the connection to national-level signals intelligence gathering.
It shows they're not operating in a vacuum.
Not at all. They're plugged into the big leagues. You know, the reason MCIA was created in the first place, back under General Al Gray. Yeah.
Was because there's a feeling that the Marines needed dedicated expeditionary intelligence support. The other big intel centers were maybe more focused on their own service needs, like large-scale land or air warfare.
So a gap was identified.
A specific Marine Corps need. Colonel Walter Breed III was the first director to lead it.
And didn't they do an early study using only open sources?
Ah, yes. The 1990 study, Planning and Programming Factors for Expeditionary Operations in the Third World. Quite remarkable, really.
Why is that?
Because it was entirely unclassified, based purely on publicly available information. It showed an early understanding that you can get valuable intelligence from everywhere, not just secrets.
That's actually pretty forward-thinking for the time. Okay, let's pull back a bit to that wider framework, the MCISRE Marine Corps Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance Enterprise.
Right, the big picture.
We talked about MCIA being an operational part. How does this MCISRE ensure that intel actually shapes the Corps' future? Well, the MCISRE plan is basically the Director of Intelligence's roadmap for the whole enterprise. It's designed as a war-fighting enterprise.
Rating.
Meaning it's focused on getting intelligence out there that's timely, relevant, and crucially, predictive, giving commanders an edge.
So it's about more than just today's battle. It's influencing future strategy.
Absolutely. It feeds into institutional decisions, shaping operating concepts, deciding force structure, guiding investments in new kit, integrating intelligence right into the core of the Marine Corps.
And it's described as multi-domain, collaborative, worldwide. That sounds like a massive undertaking.
It has to be. Threats aren't confined to one place or one domain anymore: land, sea, air, cyber, space. It's all connected.
So MCISRE helps share info across all those domains.
And across units scattered around the globe, yeah. It gives Marine Air Ground Task Forces, the MAD-GTFs, a critical edge, whether they're deployed or back in the U.S.
Let's switch gears slightly and look at the history. The document mentions the formal intelligence department being set up in 2000 by General James L. Jones. Why then?
Well, General Jones really saw the need for a dedicated proponent for ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, right within the combat development process.
So making sure Intel had a seat at the table when planning future capabilities.
Exactly. And also to be a clear point of contact for leveraging everything the wider intelligence community could offer the Marines, it formalized Intel's importance.
But even before that, there was this big revitalization in '94, the Van Riper Plan.
Yes, Lieutenant General Paul Van Riper, he was Director of Intelligence then. That 1994 Intel plan was very focused, very practical.
What was its main goal?
Its mission was pretty direct: give commanders at every level the intelligence they actually needed, tailored, timely, just the essential.
Minimum essential intelligence.
Yeah. And critically, ensuring that intel was woven into operational planning, not just an add-on.
Making it much more user-focused, action-oriented.
Definitely a shift towards that.
Yeah.
Now, tracing the absolute origins gets interesting. Many point to 1939, the creation of the M2 section.
The intelligence section within the Division of Plans and Policies.
That's the one. It was part of the buildup before World War II, reorganizing things, giving intelligence its own dedicated spot. Before that, it was sort of mixed in with operations and training.
But some historians push it back even further, to 1920.
Yeah, there's an argument for that. The creation of a military intelligence, or MI, section within the Division of Operations and Training way back in 1920.
And the first director was Lieutenant Colonel Earl Pete Ellis.
The legendary Pete Ellis, yes. A real pioneer of amphibious warfare thinking. Having him lead that early intel section shows that even then, the importance of intel for expeditionary ops was recognized.
It's quite a long history then, adapting over time.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dive into a very specific, very critical piece. Marine Corps Counterintelligence, CI.
Right. Hugely important. This is all about protecting the Marines' people, information, operations from hostile intelligence threats, espionage, terrorism, sabotage.
And this is done by Marine counterintelligence agents.
Correct. Highly trained specialists, they go through a pretty intense 17-week course.
The MAD-GTFF CIM Basic course at NMITC.
That's it. Navy and Marine Corps Intelligence Training Center. Finishing that gets them accredited as CI agents, complete with badge and credentials.
And their job covers a lot, doesn't it? detecting terrorism, espionage, subversion,
Hmm.
but also looking into cases of POWs or MIAs.
It's a very broad remit, basically identifying and neutralizing threats from hostile intelligence services or other adversaries. And yes, investigating cases involving friendly personnel who might be captured, missing, or even defectors.
Now, usually NCIS handles CI investigations back home, right, in garrison.
Within the Department of the Navy, yes, NCIS has that exclusive jurisdiction in garrison. But things change when deployed.
How so?
During combat operations, that authority gets assigned to the MAD GTF commanders, and it's the Marine CI agents who execute it on the ground.
So they're the front line for CI in a tactical environment.
Exactly. And in those settings, you'll often find CI-MINT personnel working in small teams called HETs, human exploitation teams. Yeah. They're designed both to collect and exploit human intelligence, but also to actively conduct CI operations to protect the force. Very hands-on.
And there are specific career tracks for this.
Oh, yes. Enlisted Marines are Counterintelligence Human Intelligence Specialists, MOS 0211. Warrant officers are counterintelligence officers. It's a recognized specialization.
It sounds like the training is continuous too. Airborne school, SEER, language training, maybe even technical surveillance countermeasures.
Absolutely. They get a lot of advanced training. Airborne, SEER for survival skills, language school at DLI is common, TSCM for some. It's a significant investment.
Equipping them for complex environments.
Definitely. And the opportunities don't stop there. Highly qualified CI-UMIT Marines can go on to serve with MARSOC, NCIS, the DIA, other government agencies.
So lots of potential paths.
Very diverse career options,
Right.
reflecting the high level of skill involved.
It really shows the depth of expertise. Now, we mentioned Van Riper earlier. The list of directors of intelligence must be quite distinguished.
It is a lineage of leaders who've really shaped Marine Corps intelligence over the years. Van Riper's plan in the 90s was certainly transformative.
And the current director continues that work.
Carries on the legacy, absolutely. Adapting to whatever the new challenges are. It's a constant evolution.
And finally, the document lists various types of intelligence units, battalions, squadrons, etc. It gives you a sense of the scale.
It does paint a picture of the structure. You've got intelligence battalions, radio battalions for SIGINT, recon battalions, force recon companies, the drone squadrons, VMUs, and of course, MCIA itself.
So intelligence capability is distributed throughout the force.
Spread across different levels and specializing in different areas, but all contributing to that overall MCISRE enterprise we talked about.
Okay, so wrapping this up, our deep dive into the source material really shows Marine Corps intelligence as this, well, multi-layered and historically deep part of both the Marines and the wider U.S. intelligence world.
Absolutely. You really see how vital it is for supporting the Corps' whole expeditionary approach and national security overall. So many different disciplines, so many dedicated people.
What really stands out is how intelligence isn't just some separate department, is it? It seems woven into everything they do.
From the highest level strategic planning right down to tactical actions on the ground. It informs doctrine, technology, training. It's fundamental.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, our listener. We've talked about the history and current state, but the world keeps changing, doesn't it?
Constantly. New threats, new technologies.
So considering that things like cyber warfare, information operations becoming so prominent, how do you think Marine Corps intelligence might need to adapt its mission and its capabilities in the coming years?
That's the big question, isn't it? How do they stay ahead in those rapidly evolving domains? It's certainly something to ponder.
Definitely food for thought.
And if you are interested in digging deeper, there's quite a bit of public information out there. You could look into military intelligence generally, Marine Corps history, or check the websites for organizations like MCIA or the Defense Intelligence Agency.
Plenty to explore if this has piqued your interest.